I'm Smriti. I am currently a magic mentor, and it was awesome to hear all of the Castilleja presentations. I was really impressed about yours, and I'm excited to interview you today, learn a little bit more about the inspiration and background and what you're doing next. Um, some fun facts: I was also a magic mentee when I was in eighth grade, and I also went to Castilleja. So, Sophie, can you give a quick introduction about yourself?
I'm Sophie. I'm in sixth grade at Castilleja.
Cool. So, um, again, the website was awesome. Math was actually one of my favorite subjects when I was in middle and high school, and I understand that one of your favorite subjects is English, right?
hmm
So, how did you is that how you thought of kind of converting the problems into word problems? Is that where you got your inspiration for this?
well, for me, my at my old school, we used to do like word problems and things like that. Our teacher would always tell us like it's good to try to visualize it in different ways by drawing
Hmm.
pictures or making charts or other things like that. So that kind of really inspired me because I know for some people they have different learning styles. So for some people, it might be easier for them just to read a word problem or just to look at the answer. But sometimes for people, it's easier to visualize it through a picture. So I thought this might be helpful for some people.
Yeah, I love that you included both the words and the visualization. For me, I think I'm a very visual learner, so I thought the marbles were super cool, and I love how you were creative in, like, for the subtraction one, for example, you had the lighter ones to show the amount that's left out. I thought that was really intuitive, which kind of leads me to one of your, I think you said one of the highlights was thinking about the design of the website, the design and layout. So, how did you go about that process? I understand that you have to think of so many things: background color, choosing marbles, everything like that.
Um, well, I guess I started with like a basic idea of that I wanted to do the four main operations in like at the home page because those would be like the most important and what people would most likely use. Um,
Hmm.
and then in the beginning, I had put like adding algebra, fractions, decimals, and percentages, but we wanted to start with like the basic stuff so that we could get it all done. And those weren't exactly super high priority. And
Hmm.
then I knew I wanted to make sure that people would be able to input their own numbers into it rather than just having other numbers just as examples, but where they could actually interact with. Um,
Yeah, that
our-
was really cool. Awesome. Yeah, I love how it would dynamically change. So it's not just, I know that lots of textbooks would have example questions, but then when you actually want to solve a problem, you might need help understanding that. So you can use
Mhm.
your website as a tool for that. Another thing you mentioned that was a highlight was doing the randomization of names. So that's for the word problems, like the people's names, right?
Yes.
So how did you do that?
So we kind of we started by creating like an array in JavaScript, um,
Hmm.
and then I had decided to change it by creating like a div basically, which had a word in it, and then created a few different functions that would choose a random name. So it would have like a block like a code for like math to create a random number between
Okay.
0 and 1. And
Uh-huh.
I basically multiplied that by the number of names I wanted to put and put it in an if statement so that if the number was like 0, it would pick a specific name and with the other different numbers for male and female so that I wouldn't have to change if there was like her or his or something like that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I hadn't considered that part of it either. That's really cool. And that's fun that you got to explore like JavaScript, but you're also kind of helping. about and thinking about math and how you can explain that as a tool. Why did you choose to do math as opposed to, I don't know, biology or a different subject?
Um, I kind of felt the most connected to math, I guess. Like that would be something that would be kind of easy for many people to use, especially for learning. Also, a little bit from personal experience with learning, especially math. I'm a very visual learner for math. Um, so I thought also, I just know that some people that I know have trouble with just having looking at a textbook and having to read the problems. And so for them, it's
Yeah,
easier to create to create a chart or a table or something like that.
yeah. I was actually going to ask if any of this was inspired by the way you learned, and so it seems like it is, especially that visualization aspect. So just a couple more questions. What do you think your next project will be
Um,
related to JavaScript or, anything related to your project, your current project?
I would want to add more to the project, like probably adding more complicated subjects so that also appeals to older learners. So it's not just younger. So we could put algebra and like parts of a whole, so fractions, percentages, and decimals, which
Yeah,
would also be easier
yeah.
for like just instead of just elementary school, you could also have middle school and possibly high school.
Very cool. And it would get more and more, I'm sure, complex, but also interesting to figure out how to
Mhm.
visualize those concepts.
Yeah.
Awesome. So the last question is just a fun question. I noticed that and I think Tiffany is here now, so that's great. I noticed that Tiffany mentioned that you like baking a lot and cooking, and so I was wondering if you could share your latest or most favorite food creation that you've made.
Um, well, latest would probably be the Oreo and milk cake I made. Um, that was really fun. I did that for Mother's Day just to make a super quick chocolate cake. Um,
Yeah.
it was basically just mashed Oreos and milk, and then I put that in the microwave, and it turned
Oh my
into.
God, I've got to try that. Okay, that's awesome. Since Tiffany is here, actually, I can ask you a couple questions as well.
Yeah,
Awesome. So can you first just, I mean, I guess I said Tiffany, but if you'd want to just introduce yourself in one sentence, and then I'll ask you a couple of things.
sure, yeah. So I'm Tiffany. I'm a software engineer at Google, and uh, yeah, I don't know. It's the first time mentoring with Magic, so it's been a very fun experience for sure working with Sophie.
Awesome. That was actually my first question for you, was if it's your first time. So I was wondering if any of the work that, and we talked a little bit about this with Sophie, how she was thinking about kind of her learning experiences, her friends' learning experiences when she was thinking of how to develop and how to explain math concepts. Did you connect to any of these things from, I don't know, when you were learning math?
Yeah, definitely. I think being able to visualize the equations is definitely, because I'm definitely also more of a visual learner, was a way
Mm-hmm.
to uh, really understand how do things like actually look when they're like multiplied, for example, when they're added together, and particularly when they're like different types of objects, for example.
Yeah, awesome. And then, is there anything that you learned from this mentorship experience that you could take into another one that you might have down the road?
Um, I think probably trying to adapt quickly to like Sophie's learning styles and trying to figure out what's if one way is not really connecting, like how can I try to shift and make it a little bit more approachable a different way.
Sounds great. And then finally, I was asking Sophie this question when I noticed you were here as well. But is there anything that you have baked or made that you've really enjoyed recently?
I made a bunch of scones a couple of weeks ago that were quite delicious. Cranberry lemon.
Nice. Great. Well, congratulations to both of you. I'm really excited to dig into the presentation deck and explore this website. I especially am a visual learner, and I think this aid would be so cool as a student learning these concepts. Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.